This entry is pretty out there, so please bear with me. What this entry is referring to is the idea that there is a global consciousness. So the idea of a global consciousness is that, everybody on the planet has a consciousness, and everybody's consciousness will come together to make a global consciousness. This global consciousness is kind of an amalgamation of everybody's consciousness, and this global consciousness can affect and change the real world. Like, for example, if the global consciousness at one particular moment is kind of happy and in a good mood, real life good things will start happening. But if the global consciousness for some reason is in more of a bad mood, bad real life things will start happening. The idea of this global consciousness has been researched by a group called the Global Consciousness Project. The Global Consciousness Project was actually started by a guy by the name of Roger D. Nelson. Roger D. Nelson actually worked at Princeton University for a while. So the Global Consciousness Project wanted to figure out if the global consciousness is real and if it can actually have an effect on the real world. And so the way they went about trying to test if the global consciousness is real is all around the world, they set up a bunch of electronic random number generators. And typically these random number generators would do exactly what their name suggests, generate numbers randomly. But according to the findings of the Global Consciousness Project, when there were large world scale events taking place that would grab the attention of people all over the world all at once and would be on the minds of people all over the world all at once, there would be discrepancies within the random number generation. So most infamously, the Global Consciousness Project said that during the events of September 11th, the random number generators that they set up stopped generating numbers randomly. They said that the random number generators started showing patterns in their number generation. And they said that this suggests that there is a global consciousness and it can have an effect on the physical real world. So the idea is, since the events of September 11th were so prominent and so well known, it had an effect on the global consciousness. And this change in the global consciousness ultimately had an effect on these random number generators around the world, thus proving that the global consciousness is real. Now, of course, independent scientists have looked into these findings of the Global Consciousness Project and determined that the Global Consciousness Project might be kind of fudging the numbers when talking about this shift in random number generation. It turns out that maybe there wasn't actually a shift in the random number generation. Instead, the researchers were finding patterns and making connections where they really shouldn't have. Of course, there are some real believers in this idea of the global consciousness, and it's the basis for a lot of different conspiracy theories. XCCR. XCCR is a website that has a puzzle on it